Here is Stu in Don Sutton.
All right, let me tell you about Don Sutton. And for that young man, it was a long time between victories. 45 days to be exact. But when Don finally notched his 11th win of the year today, it was outstanding. Sutton's bid for a no-hitter was erased with 2 out in the 8th inning. Mark Hill hitting .247, single cleanly to left field. But that was the only hit the Giants got. And Sutton tying Don Drysdale for the most victories as a Dodger in Los Angeles with 187. Also turns in his 5th one-hitter, which ties a National League record. Let's take a look now as to the outcome of the game. The Dodgers won it 7-0 to go 12 games up on the idle Reds with only 42 games left to play. And right after the game, the Dodgers took off for a 7-game road trip with stops in Chicago, St. Louis, and Pittsburgh. The Dodgers got off to a 3-0 lead when Davey Lopes belted a 3-run homer off Giants starter Jim Barr in the second. Reggie Smith then belted his 13th home run of the year in the 3rd inning, and the Dodgers had a 4-0 lead. Center fielder Darrell Thomas trying to flag it down vainly. In the 4th inning, Dusty Baker came to the plate, and again, Darrell Thomas tried to play Superman. This time, he couldn't quite get it, bounced off the center field fence, and by the time they got it back, Baker was at third. A squeeze bunt by Sutton past Barr, and the Dodgers get another run. They loaded the base in the 5th, got one in on a sacrifice fly, and then Dusty Baker doubled the left. That brought in 1 run, but Garvey, trying to score all the way from first base on the play, was thrown out at the plate on the throw right there. In the meantime, the Dodgers playing excellent defensively, and watch this pop-up in the 8th inning with nobody out. Still no hitter going for Sutton. Teddy Martinez goes into the dugout. Would you believe he caught that ball? Then the first hit of the ball game came with 2 out in the 8th inning. Mark Hill, the Giant catcher, clean single to left, and that was to be the only base hit. 4 walks in between, and finally, Mr. Sutton got his final out, a strikeout of Jack Clark, and he was congratulated as he picks up his 11th win of the year in a very, very fine pitching effort. Well, the Angels, meanwhile, they're off until tomorrow night when they host Toronto. But there were a couple other games played this afternoon. The Pirates got by the Cubs 7-6 to move to within 4 games of the Phillies, who played Montreal tonight. The Cubs are now 6.5 back. Boston Red Sox made it 17 out of 19 with an 8-4 win over Milwaukee. Minnesota took an 8-2 win over Seattle to move into a temporary tie in the American League West. They're now tied with Texas. The guy that many think is the finest all-around pro basketball player around today leads an all-star group of outstanding NBA players in tomorrow night's shootout at the Forum. All proceeds to the Solville Foundation. Of course, I'm talking about Dr. J, Julius Erving. Does he feel that he and his 76 teammates like McGinnis and Collins, each guy liking to shoot the ball, have meshed as a team after 1 year together?
I think that you know, this is what we're going to strive for in training camp, and when we start our coming season in October, this is the type of team that we hope to put on the floor, one that understands one another and plays, you know, the game for the good of the team. And, you know, there were times during the playoffs in certain games with Boston and Houston, as well as the first couple of games with Portland, you know, where we displayed that type of potential. And, you know, next year we'll tell the story, I believe. We're looking forward to it.
Is Wilkes, from a far away look at this ball club we have here in Los Angeles, is Wilkes going to make that much difference to the Los Angeles ball club? Well,
I think, you know, they'll move forward to a power forward position, so they have 2 power forwards with he and Washington. And with Jamal and Cassie playing a small forwards position, that gives them a very solid core of forwards. And you know, if the guard core comes around for them, you know, Tatum comes through and becomes a floor leader and ball handler along with, you know, Chaney and the other guards they have. You know, they could be a better ball club than they were last year,
and they have the best record.
And they did have a great record. They don't need any help at center. We don't have to worry about that position.
You think that guy's going to do it all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey.
Well, the Los Angeles Rams signed their last remaining holdout today, middle linebacker Jack Reynolds, and before the ink was dried on the contract, they traded Jack Reynolds to Tampa Bay for some future sports considerations. And that Aztecs playoff game against Seattle, which was scheduled for Saturday night at 8 o'clock at the Coliseum, has been rescheduled Sunday night at 7.